Hey guys, it's Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends on Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation. We got a great show ahead tonight. We're going to talk to Brandon Rembert, who is a part of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization for Major League Baseball. And I know we talk about football and basketball often, but baseball has a lot of employment opportunities, especially if you're a young person who likes sports, like data analytics, or if you know accounting, IT, all the stuff, all that goes into making a baseball organization run, as well as sales and marketing. So we're going to talk to Brandon, and he's going to tell you how to be able to reach out to him if you're ready to get into the major leagues. All right, HBCU family, it's Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends on Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation. We have here a young man out of Alcorn. Yeah, he's Alcorn Brave. But he's not football, he's not basketball, he's baseball, y'all. And he's doing some great things in the Major League Baseball operations with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is let me get it right, the minor league operations assistant down in the Dominican Republic. Is none other than Mr. Brandon Rembert. How you doing, Brandon? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you today?
Good. Look, man, we've been chatting it up for quite a while, and this is a long time coming.
Yeah.
And guys would like to say, why are we talking about baseball? You know, we got football right here with the Celebration Bowl, and we also have basketball ongoing. But baseball has been very, very good to Brandon. We want to talk to him about it. Yeah. And it's one of the sports that used to be known as the most popular of all of the sports across the world. Then there was soccer, and now football has taken over with the National Football League and the Super Bowl and everything else. But there's still so many great opportunities for young athletes to be able to participate in the sport of baseball. And I wanted Brandon to come in and talk to you guys a little bit about what he's doing, and he wanted to share his story as well. So just how you doing? Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and how you got into Major League Baseball.
Yeah. First of all, appreciate you having me on. I thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to do this. So, but a little bit about me. So I was born and raised in Pensacola, Florida. Went to Booker T. Washington High School there. After graduating there, I signed to Faulkner University in Montgomery, Alabama. I played there for 1 year. And after leaving there, I went to a junior college in Coastal Alabama for another year. And then I arrived to my final destination in Alcorn State, played there for 3 years. Had dreams of playing, professional baseball like a lot of people do. Had some hype around my name and things like that, especially going into my last year. And then my last year during a preseason scrimmage that we had, I had a hamstring injury, which kind of derailed, my dreams of playing in professional baseball, which was kind of, it was hard to deal with.
It's a pretty severe injury for you not to be able to still fulfill your dream there.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was out for most of the year. I only played maybe 10 games, and then every time it was just a nagging thing. Every time I would try to come back, it would just get worse because I didn't want to wait. I wanted to play. I wanted to see if I can help my team win and things like that. So, yeah, after that, I was forced to kind of navigate, what I wanted to do after baseball, since pro ball was out of the cards. So. I took up coaching for a little bit. I went back to my high school and coached, there a little bit. And then I also had a 9-year-old travel baseball team that I was head coach of for a little bit. And then the Pirates came knocking at my door. I think it was maybe early January, maybe December of 2021. But they came knocking at my door and put me through some interviews, and all of them went well. And then they decided to kind of bring me on there. My first year I was in the Dominican Republic, and then this past year I was in Bradenton, Florida, working with some good athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of pause it right there, man, because that's a lot to really digest. You started with you started and you played 3 years at Alcorn, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got injured. What position did you play over with the Braves?
I was mainly a right fielder, but I played all three outfield positions, but mainly right field.
Okay, so running, you had to be able to run well to be in outfield, and
Yeah.
I can see why the hamstring would be an issue there.
Yeah.
But after, let's say your career was just delayed right there, not derailed. Let's not say that, right?
Yeah.
You did something that was very important, and I want a lot of young people to be able to hear what you did. You still wanted to have a career somewhere around Major League Baseball, right?
Yes.
So tell them exactly, how did you get in the door? This is the important part.
Yeah. So actually, funny enough, there was this guy that works for Major League Baseball. He actually worked for the Pirates before he works at his job now in the front office in the Major League Baseball. He used to come speak to us, to our school and things like that about some of the opportunities in baseball and things like that. Yeah, I listened to him, but I didn't think I listened to him enough. I was like, oh, I'm gonna play pro ball. I'm playing in the league. I don't need to listen to that. But after that, after my injury and things like that, I decided to reach back out to him. I was thankful enough to still have his email and things like that, and then he kind of took me through some opportunities that were in the game and threw my resume around to different places. So you
networked with him a little bit, and he sent your resume to people. Okay.
Yeah. So we networked a little bit and things like that, and he sent my resume to the Pirates. And I actually didn't know he did that until I was hired by the Pirates a couple months after. Actually, I didn't even know.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know he did that for me.
But see, the important part there, man, is the fact that you did reach out to somebody. Yeah. And a lot of young people, when you're looking for employment opportunities, they kind of say, well, if it's not a job out there, I'm not going to do anything, and I'm not going to make that attempt. But you did something that was pretty bold, and I applaud you for that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I just wanted to see what was out there. I knew I wanted to stay in the game, and I felt like he was a good resource for me to have, especially him speaking to our school in previous years. So,
yeah. Well, that's awesome. So you got your foot in the door with the Pirates. So talk to us a little bit about that experience, because, guys, I know when you get your degrees, and I'm a Morehouse man, and I thought the same thing. But as soon as I got my degree, Brandon, I was like, oh, I'm going to have all these offers just come through the door. No, it doesn't happen that way. And sometimes you have to network, and that's how I was able to get a job as well. So I guess where I'm coming from is, how did you start off, and where did they start you inside of the organization?
Yeah, so started off at the bottom. to give you a pretty honest answer, I started off at the bottom. I started actually in the Dominican Republic. And that's like at the DSL is what they call it, Dominican Summer League, which is like one of the lowest levels of minor league baseball. I started
there. You guys have a lot of talent that come through that program, don't you?
Yeah, it's a ton of talent, and they're all kids, I'd say. They're like 16, 17, 18 years old. You're seeing them, at their lowest part of professional baseball, and that's the beauty of working at that level. You see them at their lowest, and hopefully 4 or 5 years they're at the highest in the big leagues. So,
man, that's awesome. Yeah. So you started, I wouldn't say a grunt guy, but you were there assisting with everything that they needed to be done at the dealing with the young talent over in Dominican, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So after that, what happened? How did you kind of start getting your people start noticing your abilities and your talents?
Yeah. So this, I did, my thing in the DR, getting my work in on time, and just kind of being faithful over the job that I had there. And I was thankful to get moved up this past year to Lowe, which in Bradenton, the Marauders there, and kind of had the same duties, but a little bit more responsibilities. You know, my main duties was video and data collection, but also doing some administrative work, also helping with cage work, also helping with some of the field work, and just trying to be, you know, available as possible and add value, you know, where I could. And that's
Did you
kind of
have to cut the grass too, man?
No, I didn't have to cut the grass. I'm surprised they didn't ask me to do that.
Put the lines out there.
Yeah. It was jack of all trades job, but I was thankful for it at the end of the day, because it kind of exposed me, you know, to all the different departments of baseball. So,
gotcha. All right. Well, so you got in there, you started doing what you need to do. They took notice of where you were, but there were also a lot of training classes and opportunities that you were able to get into as well, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get back. I'm Kyle T. Mosley, HBCU Legends. I'm with Mr. Brandon Rembert of Major League Baseball's Pittsburgh Pirates, but he's also an HBCU grad. We'll be back in a moment. All right, we are back. I'm Kyle T. Mosley here with Mr. Brandon Rembert. Brandon, man, you have a fascinating story, man. Let's talk about after getting over at the Dominican Republic and you've been taking notice, what type of classes or training that the Pittsburgh Pirates took you through to kind of help you to where you are today?
Yeah, so it was a couple different things. So the first thing was they allowed me to go to scout school, the Major League Baseball scout school that was in Phoenix in Arizona, and that was just, you know, I was thankful for the opportunity for them to let me go do that, because it taught me a lot about the game and evaluating players and things like that. And then also they had a Pittsburgh Pirates scout school that they allowed me to go to too, which kind of was refining my lens and just helped me to be around, you know, that scouting core, which kind of helped me in just being able to pick their brains. You know, these guys have a lot of skin in the game and things like that. And I'm still young and trying to learn. So for them to be able to allow me to just pick their brains and ask questions and just learn as much as I can about evaluating and things like that.
Now, why is scout school so important? A lot of people overlook the fact that scouts really is a platform and can buoy your career in. I know in football it's very helpful, and I know in basketball. Why also in baseball? What does it do for you to be able to become a scout?
Yeah, scout school I feel like is incredibly important, because evaluation, you can use that for any department of baseball, whether it be coaching and player development, you know, baseball operations. Like, you need to be able to evaluate players and evaluate talent. And I think that when you have that skill, like, it opens up many doors and avenues and where you can go and things like that. So I think evaluation is key, you know, to just being, you know, working in baseball in general, to be able to see talent and evaluate, you know, player and break them down, his tools and his traits. So.
Wow. That's important stuff. Do you also get involved with, I know this, the new coin phrase, data analytics and all this other stuff, AI and all this guru stuff is for this high-tech analysis of players and everybody else. Is that a part of the training that you were able to get?
100%. Baseball is becoming more data driven every year, I feel like. So some of the stuff that I was exposed to, like TrackMan and Hawkeye, breaking down movement patterns, like spin rates, you know.
Talk about that, man. Hold on, man. That's interesting. Yeah. Spin moves, boy. I mean, based upon like a person's tendencies as well. Is all that tracked?
Yeah, everything's tracked. Everything's tracked nowadays.
Yeah. How he holds his head, he's 2 inches too low, or what? All that type of stuff.
Everything's tracked. Everything's tracked.
Wow. Guys, listen to this. This is important, man. That's eye-opening, because a lot of people don't realize that data is also sent to who? The managers and the coaches, and then to the players that they're going to be playing against, correct?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. All right, man, go on. I'm on my seat. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just
I like this.
yeah, no, baseball is just becoming more data driven. We have some stuff, that we have in house that we use with our players. I don't know how much I can speak about it, but it's impressive stuff.
I won't tell. You can
Yeah,
tell.
no, I can't say. You never know, but no, there's definitely some innovative stuff, that we have and that other teams have and use, just to be able to get that advantage as a team. It's nowadays, baseball has to be driven because it has to be data driven because the players are all big, they're all strong, and you have to be able to have a competitive advantage, whether it be like data and things like that. So it's just trying to gain an advantage over the competition at the end of the day, and it comes down to just having more information, I feel like, and having the best data, to be able to get feedback. So
wow, that's interesting. Information is key, right? And king as well.
Yeah.
All right. So you went through that type of training, and what's your hopes? Where could this possibly lead you into other areas? And have you started to kind of put together what direction you want your career to head into?
Yeah, so I just want to add value where I can at the end of the day. I want to be able to work in baseball a long time. That's all I've known. I love the game. I love being around it, and I just want to have a long career within the game, and whatever that looks like, it looks like. But I just want to continue to add value where I am now and be the best person in my job now, and see where I can move the needle and help my organization win. And whatever I have to do that, that's what it is. So
okay,
that's
cool.
kind of, yeah. And right now I'm transitioning more into scouting actually. So that's
right.
exciting. This next year in 2024, I'll be more in the amateur scouting. So,
and let's talk about some really cultural differences that exist in Major League Baseball. Look, I had a conversation with Ozzie Smith, and a lot of people, especially like Ken Griffey Jr., are really helping out HBCUs to get exposure back on Black athletes in America. Because, like you say, you're in Dominican Republic. Most Latin players out there, that's really their pastime, and that's what they're able to play since they're yay high. When you come to the States, it's basketball, football. It used to be baseball many, many, many years ago, but it has changed. So when you talk about becoming a scout, do you see many scouts that look like you and I, as well as people in from HBCUs?
It's definitely getting better. I would say that. I mean, obviously the majority is not going to be African Americans, but I feel like it's improving, and I feel like it will continue to improve, especially like with the ways that you're talking about, like exposing the younger generation, to baseball and things like that. I feel like it will see an improvement, and just people of color, or African Americans, I would say, in the game of baseball for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I spoke to Reggie Jackson once as well. I met him at the Travis Scott experience that's here in the Houston area when he put out that charity baseball tournament, well, it's a game more than that, to help run, I guess, expose some of the kids to baseball from inner cities, but also to be able to get some scholarships for these young people as well, right? But what Reggie was saying is that he still believes that there's no talent gap. There's only a talent exposure problem that's out there.
Yeah.
And you coming from HBCU baseball yourself, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely talent, in HBCU baseball. I played against some guys, that should have been playing in professional baseball right now, but just I feel like there's a stigma, being around, HBCU baseball and being the swag. Oh, the pitching isn't that good. oh, they're it's easy. That's an easy conference. Those numbers aren't real like that. I think there's definitely a stigma there. But like some of these guys can really hit, you know. I
Yeah.
mean, it doesn't matter who they're facing. I know some of these SWAC teams are playing, bigger schools, and like they're performing well against bigger schools. But there's obviously a risk because you don't know. Maybe he's hitting well because of pitching, but maybe he's not. So there's obviously a risk there. But there's definitely talent within HBCU baseball. I've seen it for myself. I've played against it. I mean, it's the talent's there. So
Yeah. So if you had to do a fair evaluation, and we can talk about this in the next segment, but if you had to do a fair evaluation, we want to know, is there so much more that HBCU programs can do to help position their young men for the MLB draft? Because it's been a long time since we had someone drafted by a Major League Baseball team. So we'll talk a little bit about that when we get back. I'm Coyote Mosley, HBCU Legends. I'm here with Brandon Rembert of the Pittsburgh Pirates organization. We'll be back in a moment. All right, we are back. Brandon, talk to me, man. Let's get down into the heart of how we can be able to get exposure out there to HBCUs and put these young men in front of the scouts, executives, and everyone else, so they will have a chance to, at least, if not get drafted, get signed by some of these teams and put into some of these programs, or it could be AA, AAA, whatever, long as they get an opportunity. Talk to me about that. What are some of the things you see that could be able to help, let's say like an Alcorn or Southern and Alabama State? FAMU was the SWAC champions this past year, right? How can we get these guys out there to be exposed with the MLB?
I mean, I think it's just exactly how you say it. It's just more exposure, creating more opportunities for them to like be on TV as much as, these other teams and things like that. You talked about like the Swingman Classic, highlighting those HBCU guys. Like, I think that was huge. I think it was maybe one or two that got drafted out of there, that played in that game, which is a definitely a step forward. So I think kind of how you put it, it's like continue that exposure, continue those events. And then also, I mean, for me, I think it's just being an HBCU, competing with these bigger programs and things like that, facility wise, because you're not going to have the best facility as maybe like in Auburn or Florida and Vandy and things like that. Right. So it kind of comes down to resources also. It might not be as good as, a SEC school. So
that's important to know, because we talk about facilities for football players as well, nutritional needs as well. The diet programs have to be, you have to have a boost to those programs to help out these young people who are student athletes as well. So that's very important. But also beyond the diamond, let's say, there are other opportunities, and you're proving that there are other opportunities in Major League Baseball. Talk about that as well. What else can a young person expect behind the scenes to possibly get a job one day?
Yeah, there's tons of different, departments within professional baseball. It's a lot of moving parts, and I wasn't even aware of that. I just knew about, maybe the GM, and that was it. But it's just really about doing the digging and doing the research and seeing what's out there. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities like internships and like fellowships and things like that, and programs to get people within the game. And it's just like, you got to be able to do the digging and do the research, like we talked about earlier about creating those relationships. Baseball is a relationship. I mean, a lot of, jobs are like relationship driven. You have to be able to have those relationships and that track record of like doing well in school and like having a good name also, helps and things like that. So it's not only about what you do on the field, but like the stuff off the field matters too, when it comes to being in professional baseball. So
what about your references? Like you said, you had someone who kind of passed your resume along, but what about the coaches and that you played for at one point in time, the athletic directors, do they also get involved to help you guys when any other opportunities may arise?
Yeah, yeah, definitely for sure. I was thankful to have a coach, whenever, you know, he was called about me, like he would always put in a good word and things like that. But it comes with, having building that reputation. My coach isn't going to talk good about everybody. He's going to talk good about, he's going to talk good about the people that he feels good about, because my name is attached to him at the end of the day.
True.
So yeah, so it's
That is true.
yeah, so definitely, my coaches and things like that, were in my corner and things like that. And I was thankful to have a coach who put academics first, who cared about not only the on-field performance, but the off-field performance, being able to like miss practice because I had class, and he was okay with that, putting study hall and that stuff first. And I was thankful to be able to play for somebody like that.
Well, man, that's important. If you were on the bench and you weren't able to participate with your fellow teammates, what did you do? Did you do stats, or did you carry the bats, or what was it that you were a part of that you felt kind of helped set you up to where you are today?
Honestly, just being able to see the game from like a different lens. I was always at the practices and the games and things like that, even though I was in the dugout. But I feel like just evaluating players from the bench, usually, I'm playing in a game, but just having that different perspective, like picking up on certain things that I wouldn't see while I'm playing. Things like that, I feel like helped me for sure, because now I'm sitting in the stands, so I'm not playing and on the field or anything like that anymore either. So I think that prepared me, just seeing like that different perspective and picking up on things, that I wouldn't see as a player, and just having the time to actually like really think about the game and like slow things down and like actually process, what is happening on the field. I feel like really helped me.
You said something to me that was pretty important as well. You said your job as an assistant to the operations is more of a liaison for those players and their families as well. Talk about that aspect.
And like in terms of what? Could you ask?
As far as sometimes if the players have some personal issues
Oh
outside
yeah.
of the workplace or playing baseball, how you guys help these guys, or just let them know that they are being cared for, really made a difference.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so for me, it was just about building a relationship with that player, because a lot of these players, especially the ones coming to the States, it's their first time out of the country.
Yeah,
So, they have a family back at home, and they might not know how to do certain things. And at the end of the day, it was just us being there for them, wherever they needed. A lot of them didn't have cars. So like it was up to me sometimes. I would have to give them rides and things like that. And
really.
just yeah,
Wow.
for sure. Giving rides back to the apartments and things like that. Just trying to be as available as possible, and just be there for them when they needed to talk about something, because it's tough. Professional baseball is tough, and then them being away from their families and being out of the country and things like that, it's tough. And just being that person that they could open up to, if they have a problem, going on within their lives, and just see, where we could find a solution for those issues and things like that. Just being available and being open, for anyone to just come talk to me and things like that was huge. And just having to build those relationships with all the players individually, I think was really beneficial for both parties.
All right, awesome. Did you look up to anybody outside of the coaching sector, and as well as a player, and looked up to these guys like an exec, or because you have more execs who are now African American than ever before, especially like the Astros. They just have a new black GM this past season. Dusty Baker won the championship last season as well. But also, if you look at what's going on with Major League Baseball as a whole, do you have any role models or anyone that we should be on the lookout for?
I don't think it's anybody outside of my organization. I think it was somebody in my organization, since I've started with the org. His name is Steve Williams. He's an African American. He's in a high leadership role. He's our senior director of player personnel, and he reports to our GM, I believe. He helped me a lot. I didn't know who he was when I came with the organization, but he went out his way and introduced himself to me and just kind of like
Awesome.
took me under his wing and just kind of like trying to show me the ropes and just trying to grow me as not only an individual but as a professional as well. And I'm incredibly thankful like for the relationship that we have. He's been nothing but great to me, especially being someone in that that high level of a role. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time for him to just go out his way to talk to me and make sure everything was good. So
Yeah, definitely. Man, that's awesome, because sometimes these execs, they can always just sit in the office or do something else. They don't have to reach down to try to help anybody else. But that's pretty good that you have that mentorship that he's providing for you. So what's next for you, Brandon? Other than trying to become a scout, what's next for you?
that's about it. I'm gonna enjoy these holidays, to be honest with you. This year was long and hard. I'm just trying to get some rest and like be able to just transition, into my new role next year with scouting and try to learn as much, as I can about the job and just see where I can add value, during my downtime and things like that. But no, I'm just excited. I'm excited, to enter this new space, with these new individuals that I'll be working with. So I'm really excited about that and just seeing where I can add value and climb the ladder at the end of the day. Just trying to move forward. I have a lot to learn. Just trying to soak up as much as I can, develop as much as I can as a person and professional. So
Awesome. All right, man. Brandon, tell everyone how they could possibly find you if you are on social media, or how they can be able to reach out to your organization in case they are too interested in becoming a part of Major League Baseball.
yeah, so I have pretty much all social medias plus LinkedIn. So I'll mention my Instagram. My Instagram is B_Rembert. I mean, or you can just Google my name, and a lot of it will just pop up, like my Instagram, my Twitter, and things like that. But my LinkedIn is my name. My Facebook is just my name. Just search my name, and you could pretty much find me anywhere. And I should have links to like my email and just places where you can reach me. I've checked all those usually daily, so I mean
Okay.
it should be pretty easy to get a hold of me for sure.
Yeah. And he's a very persistent young man, I can tell you that much. And he will follow up.
I will
He
follow
follow up with me all the time, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
But that's a good quality to have. And I told you that before, because
yeah,
a lot of times people want to help, they just don't have the time, or you have to just rein them in order for them to say, okay, let me stop, let me listen.
yeah,
And guys, that's an important part of trying to get and gain employment these days in this day and age. All right, Brandon, you and I talked a little bit about one thing before we get off. We did talk about HBCUs, but you had some advice, because I asked you this question. Since you've been a part of the Pirates organization, has your alma mater contacted you? And you said no. Why?
I'm not sure. I'm trying to figure that out. I mean, I think that's one of those things that I would have to go to them about.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think so
sure.
too.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure if they even know what I'm doing now, being with the Pirates. But I'll have to make sure that they know soon. For me, being able
Guys,
to give back and things like that, which I want to do. So
yeah, we got to get the word out,
yeah,
especially since you could possibly just be a point of contact, as well as a conduit, so to
yeah,
speak, to help some of these guys out when they're going to their next phase. Because when I was working with a young man, I think his name's Kobe. He was a pitcher for Texas Southern University. He just got an NIL deal with Degree. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But where do you go from there? And sometimes people get lost, and they need somebody like you to kind of help them and be like a beacon light for them. And I appreciate you reaching out to me because you have a great story, but I think we still need to amplify it, so to speak, to help some of these young people, not only in the SWAC, but MEAC as well. There's some talented young guys down in NAIA as well who have been playing. There's a College World Series that is being played every year, and Tyson's Foods is a part of sponsoring that. So that's very important. Any last thoughts, comments, criticisms, anything you want to get off your chest before we set sail?
Not really. All I have to say, I guess, is like, you belong in the room. Speaking of African Americans, you belong in the room. Don't ever feel like you don't. Just because of your race, ethnicity, background, gender, doesn't matter. You belong in the room. Just like anybody else. So that's really all I have to say.
And once you get into the room, you have to do what?
Stay in the room. Work your way up.
Work
your way up. Yeah.
That's what I was about. Work. A lot of times we get in the room like, oh man, I'm reading. No, you didn't make it. Let's work. It's time to grind.
You didn't make it.
Down into it.
I thought I made it too, but I was at the bottom. I'm still at the bottom, but I'm trying to work and continue to move things forward. So.
Well, over the past couple of seasons, I do have this question, and it's been on the back of my mind. Have you seen any of your prospects that you've worked with when you first got the job now are close to or have been able to get into the MLB?
I've seen some, yes. I didn't work. I worked with them a little bit during spring training. So like Indy Rodriguez, he was a catcher. Quinn Priester, Henry Davis. Those guys, a lot of them moved up this year. Luis Ortiz, I think he was last year. I have had the chance, to be around those guys, and it's great. I mean, that's why we're here, to get these players, to the big leagues. So it was great to see. I mean, they're all great guys, and I'm really happy for them. So there'll be more to come soon.
That's awesome. Yeah. All right, guys, that's Brandon Rembert of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Check him out. Reach out to him. He's open door, and there's a lot of opportunities out there for you. All right. Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends. You can be able to find us at HBCU Legends on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And you can check us out online with Sports Illustrated's Fan Nation at si.com/college/HBCU. All right, Brandon, thank you very much, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
You're welcome. Take care.